I heard a really interesting take. It was kind of astrologically based, but it had some truth to it. Like this astrologer was, his name's James Braha. He's like probably one of the best for like Vedic, but he studied Western. I mean, he's like really well known in the astrology world. Anyway, he was talking about, the planet Pluto and how it's like super powerful. And, he said, I guess he was saying something about if Pluto and Venus are together, hopefully I'm not fucking this up, in somebody's birth chart, they'll be like, they're very highly emotional. They'll get into relationships. And if it fails, I mean, they're like in a catastrophic mode, right?
Yeah.
They don't know how to recover. And so what they end up doing is they put up all these big walls, like protective, these protective emotional walls. And then nobody will penetrate that, right? And then that's how you get like these avoidant attachment styles, because these avoidant attachment styles don't come out of nowhere. It's just, they do it because they don't want to get hurt. So if they don't let anybody penetrate them, then no one could hurt them and they'll never experience what they experienced in the past, which is like their kryptonite. And then therefore, they'll still get into stuff, but they're controlling it. They're controlling it completely. And the astrologer was talking about how this life is set up so poorly for this person. They don't realize it. I mean, they think they're doing the right thing, but when they're controlling their life, they're actually, life can't be controlled.
Okay.
So they're trying to control their life. So it's completely counterintuitive. Therefore, you're set up for failure automatically. Either the person you're dating they'll hang around for a while because that's how you kind of breadcrummy them along. They protect themselves so they don't fall in love again or ever have to put out that kind of energy. And then either the girl will stick around for a while if she doesn't really understand what's going on. And then eventually she'll get sick of it and she leaves, right? And then, or she gets sick of it, or she finds somebody else to give her what he's not giving her. Do you know what I mean? So or the other state is like he could just move on from that girl because she wants too much and he can't give her that. And he moves on to another girl and does like kind of the same process. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Until maybe he finds a girl who he's like, oh shit, I can't do that with. And either he backs away from it or he falls. I don't know if I'm doing an actual show here on avoided attachment yeah, that's the whole, like, I thought that was interesting. Like trying to control your life to the point where it actually works counterintuitively to you because you cannot control life. Like things are going to happen. You think you're in control, but you're really not in control.
That creates, that does get a lot of like anxiety and just like, because you just want to control a situation and you can't. And then that turns into something else though, then too.
Like what?
They're trying to control it, but they can't. So not being able to control something that's uncontrollable, but they don't see it as uncontrollable.
Yeah.
They just keep looking at like, it needs to change my way. It needs to change my way.
Well, yeah. And my brother's wife does kind of the same thing, deals with a lot of that. I got to control every situation. So then when she can't control it or something goes awry, because you cannot control outside circumstances. It's just not, it's not humanly possible. And I think the acceptance of that is just, so many people cannot accept that. So what she does to like how she deals with it is she just gets crazy angry. Like I can't, and everybody else's fault.
Yeah.
So there's a bit of that. I was late to my work. There was 3 subways I needed to take, but it's your fault that dinner's not made. You know what I mean? Yeah. It just comes out in like weird ways. It's like there's so much inflexibility people have that change is so detrimental to them. And I think the second we as people just accept the fact that change is always inevitable, you just relieve yourself from a lot of the anxiety.
That's about the setting of the outcome, right?
Yeah.
Like you become fixated on this is the outcome and I need it and this is how it happens.
Yeah, this is how it should happen.
Yeah. There's and you're almost convinced that no other way is possible.
Yeah, and then you're mad when none of it comes to fruition because you're like, I did what I was supposed to do for this particular outcome. I'll give you an example, like my brother's wife. Like she's an opera singer, but like then she went to music school and then got a master's in singing, and very talented young girl. But at the same time, shit's not going well for her. It is an artist's lifestyle. I hate to say it when you're in the creative arts, and then COVID really killed a lot of that. So you're trying to like rebound. There isn't the flexibility. So certain personalities cannot roll with those punches, and you're just stuck in this. Well, I did it. I did everything I was supposed to. How come I'm not like a big opera singer?
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of that. Even in radio, like what I did, like for 15 years, it's like, why am I not a superstar right now? But there's like all these outside circumstances.
Well, as you hear too, like in radio, I hear a lot of like a producer who thinks they should be on-air talent.
Oh, right? Yeah.
And so like the second they get it, there's always that animosity between a producer and a on-air personality, because that's the job they should have. So sometimes like they're going to be harder on their, on their staff.
On the talent?
Yeah.
Are you speaking as a producer who wants to just be a rock star?
No, because I don't want to be a rock star.
Well, you make a good point. Anybody who's behind the scenes, like a lot of us started off maybe behind the scenes with the goal in mind to eventually become a superstar, right? So not that was exactly what happened to me. I started behind the scenes in television, right? But then transitioned to radio. I mean, like fell into radio, not really even realizing this was a path for me to kind of develop like that skill and then kind of hopefully be a superstar in radio.
What did you do in television?
So my goal, like really what I wanted to be was like on The View or one of those like talking heads on The View. The View is horrible.
Like The View,
TV.
Not The View.
Yeah, like at the time when I was like in my young 20s, I'm like, The View is great.
Well, sure, yeah.
But then as I saw it unravel, I'm like, oh my God, this is horrible. Like a bunch of women babbling, talking over each other constantly. I'm like, oh, this is why they say girls cut off. Like we don't allow people to talk. We'll just like cut you the fuck off all day. And I used to be really, really bad at it. And I mean, enough people called me out where I'm like, oh my God, I have to be so conscious of it, because I didn't realize what I was doing. It's just this nature of like, oh, I have something to say. I got to say it. Like not wait for another person to finish what they're saying. And I still struggle with it, but at least I'm so conscious of it because I've been called out on it so many times. But yeah, like, so The View for me now is like a horrible fucking show to ever, but if they called, I'd be like, sure, I'll go on. No, but when I first started out, it was, I was like a loser most of my life, grade school, like, and all I would do is watch these girls who are so pretty and so popular and like got guys. And I'm just this awkward Indian chick whose mom never let her like, shave her legs or like, wear her hair down. Did you know I was never allowed to wear my hair down? I had to wear pigtails till literally the 7th fucking grade until I like begged my mother. I'm like, can I at least do one braid, Ma? One braid, like just one. I mean, pigtails in the 7th grade is not exactly, I mean, this is not fashionable pigtails where like you think I'm hot. This is like really bad, nerdy pigtails with the glasses. And my skirt, my Catholic school skirt that I didn't realize I had to roll, which all the girls rolled. So like, but I think it was at that point where I was like, I was 13. I went to India. My aunt she works in the arts. She works in media. So she used to be like a news anchor, and then she started producing for like Bollywood movies and Bollywood commercials. So she was like big time in India.
This is your family in India.
This is my family in India. My aunt who like married into the family. And I went to India one day. I was like 13, and she brought me on the set of like one of the first soap operas in India. So you have to understand, like, India's like 10 years behind the times, but at the same time, they'll just pop out shit left and right. They produce more shit than any other country. It's basically garbage. A lot of it. Some of it's good, but a lot of it's garbage. I mean, like, the premise of like most Indian movies is like, I love you, you love me, but we're not going to show it. We're going to run around a tree a couple times and do little dances.
The dance numbers are great.
Oh, the fucking dance numbers are insane. And then we're going to do dance numbers, and I'm going to be all coy, and I don't want you. I don't want you. I don't know why I'm not that Indian. Like, I should be like, I don't want you. I'm like, no, I want you. And then like, they don't want me. And then they end up together at the end. So when I sat through some of those tapings, I was like fascinated. And then she brings me to a club to do there was a big promotion for a big nightclub that was opening up in Bombay. And she brings me to it, and they were doing all like the tapings of it to like, like the pre-shit tapings before the stars got there. And they invited me to be like one of the dancers. And I wore the gayest, like I didn't know it was going to be on camera, but I wore like the most ridiculous, it was like jean shorts and like a teal green t-shirt that said Austin on it.
And how old were you?
I was 13.
Okay.
But I was still I was a decent dancer. I was always like, dancing was like, you know, I think
it goes back to the block party. We'll talk about that.
Oh, we'll totally talk about my block parties and how I used to choreograph dances. But that's how it started. And she put me on, like, of course, like, I wasn't pretty enough to be on camera. So, like, they would just record my legs. Let's do B-roll of her legs dancing. But that's where I knew when I went back to the US, I'm like, I want to work in entertainment.
Okay.
So that's when it started at 13. But, like, I didn't know how that was going to, like, I don't know, kind of metamorphose, so to speak. So then when it got to, like, senior year of high school and I had to do internships, I like interned at a local news station. And then when I got my internship at NTV, I thought, this is the bee's knees.
Yeah.
This is the greatest thing ever.
We're talking like Carson Daly time. And
this is like when MTV was right at the peak, but they were kind of on the end.
It was at the peak of like, we're leaving music. We're still doing like Carson Daly. What was it? TRL. Right?
Carson Daly, TRL.
16 and Pregnant.
All the shows were getting, So when you walk into that Times Square building, it was like, you know, TRL was like 16th floor, like all the studios, and then you saw the backdrop of like Times Square.
Yeah. But
all the rest of the floors were basically producers and all this, all the other TV shows were going on. VH1, all the VH1 2, MTV2, BET at that time. And so I just said I wanted live TV. Because when you're an intern at MTV, they like to rotate you. But after I got into TRL, I'm like, no, I want to do live television. Because this is after I did my internship with Newswatch 16 locally. And I'm like, I love live TV. So I love the adrenaline of it. Yeah. Like, I love that high. I mean, the lows kind of suck, but I mean, the highs are like, it's like a drug. Really. Yeah. You're like, and you're like 3, 2, and you're like, so you're like a PA and like, but I wasn't very good at like networking. And I just kind of did my thing, but like, I just didn't have the personality to know how to network. And that's really more what it is than talent back then.
Yeah.
And it was a cool experience, but at that point I'm like, oh, TV's not what I thought it was. I mean, it was cool, but it was not, you know.
Well, yeah. Once you see behind the curtain.
When you see, yeah, exactly. Exactly. And so, you know, a few years later, the fact that I ended up in radio, I thought was kind of interesting because I was told early on in life when after I realized I wanted to be in entertainment, I'll just like be behind the scenes. Oh no, I'm sorry. After I realized I wanted to be in entertainment, I thought, God, could you please make me pretty so I could be in front of the camera? And then I'm like, please, God, like I'm sick of being like awkward and ugly looking. And then somebody said to me, no, you don't look good in front of the camera. Like you're not good enough to be in. I don't know, like I don't know. Somebody said it. Could have been my mother. Like my mother could have literally said that, and I would
believe your mother saying it.
You know why? Because she's that honest or that cruel?
Because she loves you.
Is that what that is? Is that love? Shyla, you're too ugly. No, because she would say to me in photos, she's like, you're not photogenic.
What did she say to you the other day?
What did she say to me the other day?
Nobody wants to see your old knees.
Oh, that's right. So this is really supposed to be a podcast on my high school reunion and just high school reunions in general, because if you've gone to them or if you don't want to go to them, I get it. But that's when I was, so about 2 weeks, we're recording this in like mid-December. Hopefully we'll publish this, by the beginning of January. But during Christmas or Thanksgiving break, I go for my high school reunion. And this is my 25th high school reunion. This is the first high school reunion I have decided to go to. I didn't know about the 20th.
There was 2 prior. There was one 5 years ago, and there was one 15 years ago.
Yeah, and then like my like one of my best friend Laura said to me, Shyla, I called you on the 20th. Remember, you don't want to go. I'm like, I did it? Like, I don't remember this, but she didn't go either. But on the 15th, we were thinking about going because that's kind of when I was in the height of my radio career. I'm like, yeah, this is when I'm going to show up for my high school reunion. Because I felt like I was like definitely not like I was.
You were somebody now. You weren't
I
the
was
weird
somebody.
ugly girl anymore.
I wasn't the weird ugly girl anymore. I thought you guys, every time I say I'm a weird ugly girl, you guys always were like, Shyla, if Mark was here.
You're not.
Or the
You
friend
weren't.
Mark. This is my producer, Dan, by the way. I should probably introduce him. This is like our 4th or 5th podcast. So hopefully you know who he is if you've actually sat through this.
Thank you.
Yes, people really like you. Like, they're like, we really like Dan.
Okay, we don't need to talk about me anymore, though. It makes me feel,
I get it.
Feelings.
Yes. Are you being protective about it? It's okay to feel. Like, Jesus. So, I went to my high school reunion over Thanksgiving break, and this guy, I didn't even know about it until this other dude let me know about it. And I'm like, cool, let me go. And I went to go get ready, and I had this cute dress and whatever. And actually, the picture that's on the promo is a dress I wore before I went to my high school reunion, because we taped the podcast. And before I left, my mom's like, are you going to put stockings on? I'm like, no, Ma, I'm not 6. I'm not putting stockings on. You got to put stockings on. She's like, your knees look terrible. I could see the wrinkles on them. You have to, you cannot walk around. It's insane what this woman tells me.
But she says it in such a tone, the tone she uses too, though. It's not and she's not attacking you. It seems like it's just her thought. And it's just a definitive thought that
she's very matter of fact.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's like, you look really ugly with that dress on. At prom, she was like, no, nobody ever asked me to anything. Okay. Let's get one thing straight. High school were not my best years. Grade school, middle school, and junior high were even worse. Okay. I mean, they were terrible. And so when I got to high school, I went to 4 or 5 different high schools. I was plopping around from Scranton, Clark Summit, Pennsylvania to New York City and Queens, because my parents had moved at that point, but we still kept our property here. So I was then I became a bit of a wild child. And, so in high school, I was just always, this was the part where I was maybe 11th, 12th grade. I'm like, I really want to be cool. I just really want to be invited to a party. I want to drink. I want to know what this is like. And I want to know, the number one thing I always wanted was what is it like to be liked by a boy? Nobody liked me ever. And I bring this up so harshly because the high school reunion for me was all right, Shy, you look kind of good. You're 43. You got it going on, kind of. I mean, I think I peaked at 37, but whatever.
You had an exceptionally handsome date.
I had Dan was my date because, of course, when I asked my date, what did he say? I go to work. I don't want to do anything. No, but I'm rejected constantly, and I'm so happy I could take rejection well. It's almost like a part of I already know the rejection's coming. Just tell me.
Yeah.
Is that weird? I already know. I prepare myself for rejection all day, all night.
You've been through a lot of rejection that you've taken to heart, maybe too much.
Oh,
because maybe the rejection isn't you. Maybe the rejection was just problems with them.
I guess
you're just by the point you're at now with everything, that you're kind of already just all right, I'm going to ask you this. I know you're going to say no.
Right. I just want to know where I stand.
Yeah.
You want to come? You don't want to come. You want to date me? You don't want to date me.
You probably don't want to come.
You don't want to come.
And that's the path you start to set up for yourself.
Yeah. Do you love me? No, you don't love me? Cool. All right. I mean, I am and Dan doesn't like when I say it, I am an acquired taste. I am. My best girlfriends will say to me, my best girlfriend Allison will say to me, Shyla, you're not really feminine. You're not feminine. This is why girls can't relate to you. And I can't relate to, I love women. Women don't like me, but I love women.
Yeah.
And I never want to threaten a woman. I don't, I don't try to play that. Let me compare myself to you game. But every once in a while I fall into it. I think like most people, but, when she says that to me, I'm just like, oh, this is the reason why guys don't like me. Cause, I have a set of balls, like not a set of real balls. I wish I did. No. I talk very crudely. And my mother would always say, this is why guys don't like you. They think you're a party girl and your mouth. Who wants to deal with that? That's what she says. But little do people know when they get to know me, I'm actually really feminine.
You have a lot of feminine housemaker qualities, we could even
Oh,
say.
yeah.
Like
I'm a big nurturer. I'm a big nurturer.
That's the word, yes, thank you.
I am a big nurturer.
You like to cook. You like to keep a place clean.
Very clean.
You like to take care of the people that are in your house.
In my life.
Yeah.
Like, yes, I like to take, I enjoy caring for people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it also feels very like against my nature when I have to be a bitch or when I have to like, do things against what comes naturally to me, which is kind of to be loving and shit.
You're really good at being a bitch, though.
Am I?
Yeah.
When have I ever been a bitch?
Oh, you get in your moods.
When? I am never a bitch. What are you talking about?
I'm not just at me. I'm not saying like you're not a bitch to your friends, but when you bitch about things.
Oh, I'm harsh.
Yeah.
I'm third, but like when I speak on a third person level.
Yeah.
When I speak behind someone's back.
Sure. Okay.
Then I'm a bitch.
Yeah. A little bit.
Oh, I could be like, yeah, I guess. What I find interesting about a woman I've been reading so many relationship articles and videos. I feel like I'm really meandering on this podcast, but
keep going.
When we're talking about like how a woman is supposed to be to get what they want, right? I never agreed to it. I never bought into it, and a lot of it is, oh, you have to be really assertive and you got to be a bitch. And like when we translate that into relationships, what I find for me in my personal life is if I like you, I show it. But I don't like a lot of people. So it's not like I'm dating. I don't do any of that. I'll be single for a really long time and fine with it. And then if I like somebody, I'm a little hesitant in the beginning and then they pursue me. And then when they have me, then they start being, the opposite. And that's when I get the advice where, no, that's where you got to be a bitch. And I'm like, what? Like, why does it have to be that complicated? So I just don't agree to that kind of like way of being. But I do feel like it seems to work for all these women. I really do. Especially, I hate to be an asshole. If you're like an average looking chick, right? You're just like a regular Joe. You seem to know what to do more. No, I'm not kidding. Like you seem to know how to maneuver men a lot better than if you were like some chick who are hot as balls. And I wonder if it just comes from them having to work at the fact that they gotta be that way because they know what they look like. This is mean to say, because this is like, I'm not anything to look at, but at the same time, I'm like, well, why do I have to be a bitch to get what I want? Does that make sense?
It does.
I feel like you want to say something.
No.
We can edit this part out.
Edit it out, but it's the fat chicks give the best blowjobs.
Oh my God, thank you.
Because why? Because they have to do it like they're never going to do it again.
Wow. So right? Yeah.
It's a saying.
No, I know the saying. It's like you got to work harder.
I think all women should work harder at it.
All women should give great blowjobs.
Shouldn't just be the fat chicks.
But the super hot chick could get away with.
She doesn't have to give us.
She doesn't have to give away. Yes. And if we change that metaphor into like some hot dude, right?
Yeah.
He doesn't have to put in that much effort because he's just hot.
A guy with a huge dick doesn't have to be in shape. He could be a fat, gross mess, but he's going to have big dick energy.
Okay. I think this is why people like you on the podcast. This is why people like Dan on the podcast. I don't disagree with anything you're saying, but I don't fit into any these categories. I don't know what to do with myself. I'm not some hot chick that can get away with not giving a great blowjob, but I'm not some lowly like smog. So it's like, what the fuck am I? So you know what ends up happening to me? I just end up being your friend. I'm like the dude's girl. I'm like that. And that really was my character all throughout grade school, middle school, and high school. I was the friend of the girl that everybody wanted.
It's because you lacked the confidence of realizing that you could have been the hot chick.
No, Dan, I didn't exemplify any of the hot chick qualities. I wasn't hot. So, there goes that. personality wise, I don't think it was where it should have been. It's not where it is now. This is what's so sad about me. I'm still stuck in like little girl body. I'm like mentally.
Yes.
I'm still stuck in this. You're still weird Shiloh with pigtails. You still don't understand what you have or what you maybe you've accomplished or maybe what you've looked like.
But you weren't this night. This night you were Shyla in a slinky dress with her stockings and her heels.
To cover my wrinkly knees.
Yeah,
That's
thanks
right.
for covering those up.
Dr. Nathan.
Yeah, your hair looked good.
I got a little drunk though.
You got a little drunk.
So I really wanted to go. I really wanted to go to the Dan was my date. So I really wanted to go to this high school reunion to be like, let's come back and try to be popular girl.
Yeah.
You can't do it. Popular girls are just going to stay popular, bro. But you could look good. That's what I realized. That crew that was like, and obviously they weren't all there, but like that crew that I looked up to be like, oh, they're like super cool, popular, blah, blah, blah. They still have that energy. I feel like they carry that. Maybe inside they feel differently, but on the outside, I felt like they still carried the cool girl energy. You know what I mean? Like, what are you, shy? And so there's a part of the high school reunion where everybody went to go take like the group picture, and I like didn't want to go take it. And like Dan was like, "What are you doing? Like, go, go, go." And so he literally said to me, you were so resistant towards it. And I think what came over me with the resistance was, I'm back in high school again. I feel like I don't belong with these people. Why am I even here? I don't want to be in their picture. They don't want me there. It's all an internal, I am my own worst enemy type of thing.
People were calling to you, telling you, come up here, come over here.
Oh, I didn't hear that.
Oh, yeah. They're like, Shyla, come on over here, come on over here. And you were just like a deer in headlights and just like, trying to get out of the picture.
Yeah, because I felt like I didn't belong.
You were almost holding up the picture to some level.
Was I?
Possibly.
Oh, wow. That in and of itself is unattractive.
I mean, yeah.
To like feel like even like I didn't belong there. I always feel like I don't belong somewhere. And I think it's all in I wouldn't say it's all in my head, but I think a lot of it is in my head and concocted in my head. Because you cannot go to a high school reunion. I don't give a shit who the fuck you are. You cannot go to the high school reunion and not come into that high school reunion with kind of the same mentality you had in high school. As far as like where you were on the social ladder. Does that not come over? So,
well, I think it's the impressions that these people left on you at a certain age, probably.
Yeah.
So that's like if you get back together with some friends from high school that you hadn't seen in 10 years, and the people say, "Oh, you know, we went out last night. We got fucking hammered. We were up all night. It was like we were in high school again. We drank so much. We laughed. We listened to rock and roll music."
Yeah, that was your high school. That was not my high school.
Exactly. But like, it's that like it's the energy that you carried between each other. So when we're putting you now into a high school class scenario of all the people, it's triggering that like energy back to you of like, this is how I should feel around these people.
Yes, exactly. Like I should feel like I'm not one of them. I should feel like I'm not.
Even though you've grown so much over the years past the nonsense that I saw.
But maybe I have. Maybe I have not. And I think that that puts boundaries on me. That obstaculizes. What is that word? I'm looking for a verb for
obstructs.
That obstructs me. Like it really does. It hinders me. It hinders me even now in life where I will be, for instance, like I can go into a job and accept whatever bullshit salary they give and be like, okay, that's what I deserve. And somebody had said to me, some like my philosophical therapist. I do see a therapist on occasion, but they're like a very philosophy based because that's kind of what I am a lot of ways. And he had said to me like, the value you place on yourself, you know, like aka salary, is kind of how you see yourself. So there's people who will go in and demand more than what they actually deserve because they see themselves as so valued. I'm like, man, what the fuck does that even feel like? Because I don't know what that feels like. So it's like I will go for a lesser job and a lesser pay thinking, well, I could at least get that. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Well, I think there's the one side that I think I want to make clear though is that there's the younger generation feels like they deserve more money unrightfully. I think there's certain people that have worked hard and be like, no, I deserve $200,000 a year.
Right. And I'm going to show you why I
take
deserve that.
140.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
Right. And that's where I should be. Like, I understand that logically, but like emotionally, I'm not there yet. And I think that like literally translate in every part of my life. And, definitely translated at the high school reunion. I'm glad I went though. I think it ended up being kind of successful. I know there's a lot of people who don't want to go to their high school reunion because high school sucked for them, or they don't want to see these people, or they're so past that. Like, why bother? But for me, it was all about like a redemption. For me, it was literally about like some part of redemption. But they would all say like, you're like a nobody, Shy.
You're looking for your like, she's all that moment.
I'm looking for my she's all that moment. It's like, we just take off the glasses.
Oh, who's that girl?
Bro,
is that the foreign exchange student?
I'm telling you, that was a funny joke.
That was.
I made a fucking funny joke on the way there. I'm like, everyone's going to think I'm just a foreign exchange student. Nobody's going to know. I do think I've gotten funnier in my day.
You have, yes.
Thank you. And I've been able to like laugh at myself. But yeah, so that was high school reunion. I do encourage people to go to their high school reunion though. Like, it's always so cliche, man. The people who are super hot back then, maybe they grew up and they're like not so hot now, or they're like average, or they've maintained. And then there's always like the ones you were like, oh, Larry, I didn't know you looked like this now. You know what I mean? So that was kind of fun to see the evolution of that.
I don't want to get into it, but it was interesting to see the level of man that you thought were attractive, because for somebody to say like, oh, that man over there is attractive in a sport coat and just like a golf polo and khakis and like male pattern baldness, and definitely like the dad bod of just like, yeah, you used to work out like 15 years ago, but I got kids now and I'm just kind of like pudgy and thick, but like
right.
The neckline's a little bit thicker though too, and just like the beard's grayish, and just like you're attracted to an older gentleman.
I'm not though. I'm not. No. What bald dude with fucking a fupa was I getting into that night?
I don't know if he had a fupa, but I guarantee he had a belly.
No, but I will say, if you got a head of hair, good for you. If you're still rocking with the head of hair, I mean, that's amazing. But I took it for granted. I'm thinking everyone's going to have a head of hair. You walk in there, half of people don't have a head of hair. Like, it's nuts. It's so crazy.
Some of us have half a head of hair.
Some people got the George Costanza look going on. I mean, like, whatever. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I got a little too drunk, and I will also say that I think when I left, I finally was like, you know what? I went thinking it was going to be this extreme moment of, oh my God, look at me. I'm going to show everybody. And I walk out of there and I'm like, oh, no, nobody really gives a shit. Nobody really gives a shit at the end of the day.
No.
It's so funny how much we internalize, and then we try to project
how important we think we are to other people. How important we think we are.
So the other funny part about this is, and I'll wrap it up with this because I have no idea what this actual topic was because I jumped around a lot. But the couple girlfriends I have now that are very close to me, probably 15, 20 years, like all 3 or 4 of them, were actually super popular girls in high school, like in their respective high schools in the Scranton area. Okay. And we all so they all became very close friends with me. And when I talk about what I used to be, they somehow go, I don't really buy that. But I'm like, no, that's really what it was. And then second, they're like, Shy, as a popular girl, we don't give a shit. I'm like, thanks, guys.